The next question is, tell me about how you manage and support remote teams. For more interview questions, please go to our website at bowsy8.com. Here's a good answer. Managing remote teams effectively requires clear communication, trust building, and a focus on fostering collaboration despite physical distances. I implemented a few key strategies to ensure both productivity and engagement. 1. I prioritized establishing clear communication norms. We agreed on core working hours for overlapping availability across time zones and adopted tools for quick messages and weekly video stand ups. These stand ups were not just status updates, but opportunities for everyone to connect, discuss blockers, and share updates. I also scheduled weekly one on ones to understand each member's challenges, goals, and well being. 2. I emphasized outcome oriented work rather than micromanaging processes. I provided clear goals and deliverables, but allowed flexibility in how and when team members achieve them, given their diverse time zones and personal preferences. For example, one team member in a different continent preferred working early mornings, so we agreed on a timeline that respected both their schedule and the team's needs. 3. I fostered a sense of inclusion and camaraderie by encouraging team bonding. I organized virtual events like coffee chats, trivia games, and even show and tell sessions. These informal moments built stronger relationships and helped team members feel connected despite the distance. 4. I supported professional growth by offering opportunities for visibility and advancement. For example, when a remote engineer expressed interest in leading a project, I ensured they had the resources to succeed, which boosted their confidence and career trajectory. When issues arose, such as miscommunication or feelings of isolation, I addressed them promptly. For instance, when one team member felt left out during brainstorming sessions due to time zone, I introduced asynchronous tools like Miro for idea sharing and shifted meeting times occasionally to accommodate their schedule. Why does this work? 1. Demonstrates thoughtful strategies. The answer showcases proactive steps like setting communication norms, leveraging technology, and fostering team culture, which are essential for remote team management. 2. Shows empathy and adaptability. It highlights your understanding of the challenges remote workers face and your efforts to tailor solutions that respect individual needs and team dynamics. 3. Focuses on results and relationships. Balancing productivity with team morale and personal growth shows you're committed to both performance and people. 4. Tangible examples. Specific instances, such as accommodating time zones or mentoring a remote engineer, add credibility and depth to your story. 5. Addresses challenges head-on. By discussing how you solved issues like miscommunication, the answer demonstrates resilience and problem-solving skills. What you should avoid. 1. Neglecting communication norms. Avoid suggesting you let communication happen organically without establishing norms, as it may imply a lack of structure. 2. Overemphasizing surveillance. Focusing too much on tracking hours or monitoring activity can signal mistrust, which is counterproductive in remote environments. 3. Ignoring cultural or time zone differences. Failing to mention how you handle time zones or cultural differences might suggest a lack of awareness of remote team challenges. 4. No focus on engagement. Overlooking team bonding or inclusion can make it seem like you're focused solely on output and neglecting team morale. 5. General or vague descriptions. Saying, "I use tools to communicate," or "I manage schedules" without examples makes the answer less impactful and memorable. Thanks for watching. For more tech interview questions, please go to our website at bowsy8.com. The next question is, give me an example of how you deal with ad hoc requests coming from nowhere. For more interview questions, please go to our website at bowsy8.com. Here's a good answer. In a previous role, my team was responsible for an internal analytics platform used across the company. One afternoon, I received a direct message from a senior executive with an urgent request for a custom data report that was not available through the existing dashboard. This request came with no prior notice and was needed for a high-profile board presentation the next morning. It caught us off guard as we were deep into a sprint focused on delivering key features for the platform. My first step was to assess the urgency and impact of the request. I quickly arranged a 10-minute call with the executive to clarify the scope, the data requirements, and the deadline. Understanding that this was critical for the board meeting, I determined it was worth prioritizing. To handle this without derailing our planned sprint goals, I reviewed the team's current workload and identified a senior engineer who was wrapping up a task with lower priority. I reassigned them to tackle the report immediately, ensuring they had the full context and the data access needed to complete the work efficiently. Meanwhile, I communicated transparently with the rest of the team, explaining the situation and minor adjustments to deadlines for other tasks. I also set expectations with the executive, highlighting the complexity of the data extraction and the achievable deliverables within the given timeframe. By working collaboratively, the engineer delivered the custom report by the evening, exceeding expectations. I followed up to ensure it served its purpose in the board meeting, which it did. After the incident, I reflected on how to manage similar situations more effectively. I introduced a lightweight ad hoc request process requiring stakeholders to fill out a quick form detailing urgency, impact, and context. This process helped us triage requests more effectively, minimizing last-minute disruptions and setting clear boundaries for requests that could wait. Why does this work? 1. Shows proactive problem solving. The response demonstrates a thoughtful approach to an unplanned, high-priority request, balancing immediate needs with the team's ongoing work. 2. Highlights leadership in action. It reflects how you took ownership, delegated strategically, and communicated transparently with both your team and the stakeholder to achieve a successful outcome. 3. Focuses on outcomes. The example highlights the successful delivery of the report and positive feedback from the executive, emphasizing your ability to deliver results under pressure. 4. Addresses continuous improvement. By introducing a process to manage future ad hoc requests, you showcase a forward-thinking mindset that aims to improve team efficiency and reduce similar disruptions. 5. Tangible impact. The story not only resolves the issue at hand, but also strengthens the team's operational processes, which is a hallmark of strong leadership. What you should avoid. 1. Dismissing the request. Avoid suggesting you ignored the ad hoc request or deemed it unimportant without investigating its urgency and potential impact. 2. Overburdening your team. Saying you forced the entire team to work overtime or compromised the quality of sprint goals reflects poorly on resource management skills. 3. No stakeholder engagement. Skipping steps like clarifying the request or setting expectations with the stakeholder might indicate a lack of thoroughness or communication. 4. Criticizing the stakeholder. Avoid framing the requester as unprepared or blaming them for creating the disruption, as this can reflect poorly on your ability to manage relationships. 5. No reflection or process improvement. Concluding the story without addressing lessons learned or steps taken to prevent similar challenges can make your leadership appear reactive rather than strategic. Thanks for watching. For more tech interview questions, please go to our website at bowsy8.com. The next question is, give me an example of your contribution outside of your team. For more interview questions, please go to our website at bowsy8.com. Here's a good answer. In my previous role, I noticed that several teams across the organization were struggling with onboarding new engineers effectively. This led to delays in productivity and inconsistencies in understanding our core systems and best practices. While this wasn't directly within my team's scope, I felt it was an opportunity to contribute to the broader organization. I proposed and spearheaded the creation of a standardized onboarding toolkit for engineers. I collaborated with other engineering managers, senior engineers, and HR to identify key pain points and create resources like detailed documentation on our systems, an onboarding checklist, and an internal mentorship program. My team also volunteered to pilot the program, iterating based on feedback before rolling it out to the entire engineering department. The impact was significant. Time to productivity for new hires decreased by 30%. Feedback from new engineers highlighted a smoother transition into the company, and other teams began using the template to create onboarding processes for their specific domains. By taking ownership of an issue that affected the organization as a whole, I demonstrated initiative and fostered collaboration across teams. It also strengthened relationships between my team and others, which led to better cross-team cooperation on future projects. Why does this work? 1. Demonstrates initiative. This response highlights the ability to recognize organizational issues and take proactive steps to address them, showing leadership beyond the immediate scope. 2. Collaboration across teams. It emphasizes working with other managers, engineers, and HR, reflecting strong cross-functional collaboration and communication. 3. Quantifiable impact. Specific metrics like a 30% decrease in time to productivity show measurable outcomes, adding credibility and weight to the contribution. 4. Aligns with organizational goals. The example ties into broader objectives like improving efficiency and enhancing employee experience, aligning individual actions with company goals. 5. Strengthens relationships. Highlighting better cross-team collaboration demonstrates the long-term cultural and operational benefits of the initiative. What you should avoid. 1. Choosing a minor contribution. Avoid examples that don't have a meaningful or measurable impact. For instance, mentioning one-off help on a task might not demonstrate strategic thinking. 2. Focusing only on your effort. Make sure to acknowledge the collaboration involved. Overemphasizing your role without recognizing others' contributions could come across as self-centered. 3. Ignoring outcomes. A good answer must include the results of your contribution. Saying, "I helped set up a meeting with other teams," without showing the result makes the example lack depth. 4. Failing to connect to organizational goals. Ensure the example ties into something that benefits the company or other teams broadly. Avoid overly localized examples that don't reflect larger impact. 5. Overloading with details. Avoid getting bogged down in technical details or the nitty-gritty of the process. Keep the focus on your role, collaboration, and impact. Thanks for watching. For more tech interview questions, please go to our website at bowsy8.com. The next question is, give me an example of a decision you regret making. For more interview questions, please go to our website at bowsy8.com. Here's a good answer. A decision I regret involved approving a high-risk project timeline without fully understanding the team's capacity and constraints. Early in my career as a manager, a high-profile project came up with a tight deadline. Eager to demonstrate the team's ability to deliver, I agreed to the timeline without thoroughly consulting the team on potential risks or challenges. As the project progressed, it became clear that we had underestimated the effort required. Team members were working long hours, morale began to drop, and despite our best efforts, we missed the deadline by 2 weeks. While the project was ultimately successful, the cost to the team's well-being and trust in my leadership was significant. Once I realized the impact, I acted quickly to address the issue. I held a retrospective with the team where I acknowledged my mistake, apologized, and asked for feedback. Together, we identified process improvements, such as earlier risk assessments, more transparent communication, and ensuring the team had a greater voice in estimating timelines. I also worked to rebuild trust by setting realistic expectations and advocating for the team in future negotiations. This experience shaped my approach to leadership. Now, I always prioritize team input, encourage open dialogue about risks, and take a more balanced stance when negotiating deadlines. Why does this work? 1. Acknowledges responsibility. The response shows ownership of the mistake without blaming others, reflecting maturity and accountability. 2. Demonstrates growth. It highlights how the mistake became a learning opportunity and led to actionable improvements in leadership style. 3. Balances the negative with the positive. While the decision is framed as a regret, the resolution and positive outcome, a better process, show resilience and adaptability. 4. Reflects team-centric leadership. Emphasizing the retrospective and rebuilding trust demonstrates that you value the team's well-being and input. 5. Shows measurable change. Specific actions like earlier risk assessments and advocating for the team illustrate that lessons learned translated into concrete changes. What you should avoid. 1. Blaming others. Avoid statements like, "The team underestimated the effort," as this deflects responsibility. 2. Avoiding ownership. Saying, "I was pressured by leadership," diminishes your accountability for the decision. 3. Choosing an example with lasting harm. Select a mistake that led to a learning opportunity, not one that irreparably damaged relationships, projects, or careers. 4. Failing to show improvement. If you don't explain how you grew from the experience, the story may seem like an unresolved failure rather than a learning opportunity. 5. Overly generic examples. Provide specific details to make the example more compelling. For instance, describe the project or the context briefly rather than giving a vague scenario. Thanks for watching. For more tech interview questions, please go to our website at bowsy8.com.